Welcome to the Psychedelic Integration Podcast. I'm Sinclair Fleetwood, a ceremonialist, plant medicine guide, and psychedelic integration coach, and I help soul seekers create lasting transformation so you can get unstuck, embody your power, and be authentic AF, all with plant medicine as your guide. If you're ready to go beyond visuals and get a vision for your life, if you know the end of your ceremony is just the beginning of your expansion, then this show is for you. I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome. Hey family, welcome to the show. I'm Sinclair. This is a Psychedelic Integration Podcast. What do we do on the show? We talk about all the things that are in the way of our wholeness. Integration is wholeness. Integration is coming home to yourself, to your authenticity, being yourself AF. It is all of the vibrational work and allowing and understanding and contemplating and moving into understanding and resonance with the things that we don't like in our lives, the challenges, the parts that get sticky, right? So we're here to open ourselves to a better way of life because we want to feel good, because we deserve to feel good, because we want to do good. We want to be in service. We want to be a shining light in the world. We want to be the change in the world, right? So that's why we're here. That's why we do plant medicine, because we know that it has power to help us that we don't have all on our own. And it's a beautiful tool and we love it. And that's why every week I come here and tell you more ways to polish your jewel, right? To polish the jewel of your heart. And in this episode, we're going to talk about calling in your jeweler era. And what that means is, okay, I want you to imagine that you are a coal miner, that you work in a mine, you work underground. You have been underground for years. You have the whole ensemble. You've got a flickering headlamp, your face and fingers and every inch of your body is covered with black soot. You have been searching and seeking and spelunking inside of this coal mine for decades. And what you have found in there is trauma, pain, suffering, shame, grief, sadness, loneliness, all of these things, all of these parts of yourselves, all of these ways of being, behaviors, things that we judge, challenges, whatever you want to call them. The mind is full of jewels. And while we are in the coal mine, we are going in there and it seems like sometimes you forget, right? You forget that there's a beautiful life on the surface, that there's a pile of jewels on the surface that are waiting for you to come out and polish them and cut them and set them and wear them and create jewelry and be fabulous and be sparkly and enjoy. And what we keep doing is going back into this coal mine and digging and believing that we have to get every last jewel out of this mine in order to be happy. We have to get every single last speck of gold dust out of this mine in order to let ourselves be free and liberated and enjoy and create and have fun. For me, and probably a lot of people who have been on this path for some time, are you getting tired? Doesn't this cave feel too small and dark and sad? Doesn't it feel like there's something missing when you're just excavating and you're just looking for more things to heal? And this hamster wheel of endless healing and endless seeking, it just keeps going and going and going. Welcome to your jeweler era. So we are calling in your jeweler era, and I'm so excited about this episode because this is a partner episode. This is a buddy episode to last week's episode, Allowing Your Wellness. And this is kind of another aspect, another facet, if you will, of how do we move from this fixation on solving and fixing and really putting all of our waking hour attention on solving ourselves, on solving the problem of ourselves, on overcoming the challenge of being ourselves, on breaking the habit of being ourselves, as Joe Dispenza says. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, I want to let you know we have only a few spots left in Resonance, September 12th to 15th. It is our last retreat of this season. We have some camping spots left. It is so beautiful this time of year in Asheville. We spend 4 days out on a beautiful piece of land, convening together, getting away from the hustle and bustle, and coming into reverence and connection with other humans who are on this path of remembering, who are on this path of connection with themselves, and sitting and convening and singing and spending time around the fire, integrating, eating amazing food. We have so much fun. It's the best, and we would love to have you join us. If you want to learn more, you can go to my website, sinclairfleetwood.com/events, book a call, we can chat and figure out if it's a good fit for you. If you're looking for support, for someone to come into the coal mine and help you get out of there, I got you. I work with people one-on-one in private coaching, and I also have a group membership called Nest, where you can come meet with me once a week, me and the rest of the Nest family. I like to call them my nesties. And we have an amazing, intimate group of supporters, family, people who are really working through this stuff in their individual lives and sharing it with each other and being seen and being witnessed on a long-term path of integration. It's not just a quick fix. We mostly have people who come in and want to stay for a while because they're really committed to working on these things that are not supporting them in their lives. And just to have something every week where you can show up, you're going through something, you can pick up the phone and get on our Telegram group, and somebody's going to be there to see you, to support you, to love you, to laugh with you, to cry with you. You will not be alone. And I think that's one of the biggest problems on this path of healing, is trying to do it all by yourself. Why are we like this? Why do we try to do this all by ourselves? Why are we so devoted to the identity of the coal miner, the identity of, I got to go in there, I have to fix myself, and I got to do it all by myself. And I don't want anyone to see how broken I am, so I'm going to keep doing it by myself. If you can let go of that a little bit, and hopefully today's episode will help you with that, come into Nest, let others see you, be in community. Community is where we heal. Healing is amplified in community. That's why we do group retreats. That's why we do group journeys. That's why we do everything together as a family. So if you want to learn more, go to my website, sinclairfleetwood.com, click on Work With Me, and there's some free gifts in there too. You can get my Mystical Heart Oracle deck. You can get my Ultimate Quick Start Guide to Healing with Psychedelics. There's workshop in there about finding your soul purpose with medicine. It's great. Most people who find themselves drawn to or called to plant medicine are looking for relief. They're looking for relief from these deep wounds of trauma, of generational trauma, personal trauma, wounds of repressed emotion, wounds that have shown up in the physical body as illness. Maybe you're having an existential crisis. That's very common as well. Maybe it's everything. Maybe the pressure of living in modern life has become too much, and you are looking for answers. You're looking for something greater. You're looking for a reason. Why is it like this? And it can feel like when you find this path, it feels exciting because you have a purpose. You have a reason to move forward. You're like, okay, I don't have to be alone in the dark, victimized with no path. Now I have a job, and my job is coal miner. I am a coal miner. I am going to work. I'm going to get the jewels out of myself, right? And the way that this little metaphor came about was this weekend, my partner Ian and I were camping with the rest of our fire family. We're a family. We're a chosen family. We create retreats together, and we're best friends, and we all hang out together. And one of the things we do is we go out to the Smoky Mountain National Park and do camping trips and enjoy nature with our plant friends. Well, we do this because we are in service, so we create spaces for ourselves to work through whatever's coming up. And the person that usually has the hardest time in these experiences is me, because I think it's like that on purpose. Because, when I'm leading in retreats, I'm in service, and my role is to hold space and take care of the family. And the only way that I can do that with pure clarity and purity and presence is to make sure that I am not bringing my own stuff into the containers, right? So we go out and we do these journeys together, and we spend time in nature. And I'm the one that's always getting upset. I'm the one that's crying. I'm the one that's processing big things. Everyone's playing in the river, and I'm like, I'm like crying a bunch. And this last time I had such a big release. It was all of this stuff that's been moving in me, which I have been sharing on the podcast, about this fixation on solving the challenges that I find in myself. For me, it's mostly stuff in my physical body, my relationship to my physical body and symptoms, and how those symptoms have been taking all of my attention. And I've been in this like symptom flare is what I call it. But really what I realized is it's not a symptom flare. It's an attention problem. It's this identity that I created for myself as this pain warrior, this healing warrior. And how do I do my job if I'm not always in that healing space, right? How do I support people if I'm not down in the trenches with them healing and doing it myself? And my partner, Ian, who is a very funny man and very handsome also, he was like, you got to step into your jeweler era. You're not a coal miner. You've been down there mining coal. All you do is mine coal. You have a huge pile of jewels outside of this mine that you need to come and do something with. You love to make jewelry. Let's get it, And it was complete with a very hilarious old prospector, crazy laugh that he proceeded to do all weekend, which I made him record so that you could hear it. So here is his crazy prospector laugh. He's ridiculous. So coming into your jeweler era involves a willingness to shift. So why is it important to shift? Like, what's so wrong with being a coal miner? Well, there's nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with it. And it's an important part of your journey. We have to be coal miners. We have to go into the stuff. We have to excavate. We have to descend. We have to look and understand the shadow. We have to be willing to walk into the deepest, darkest places in ourselves and sit there without judgment and be there and be loving and bring the light into those places, right? That's what the descent and the excavation is about. It's about examining so you can understand. And most people do not get out of that phase of healing. They become enmeshed with the identity of the coal miner or the healer, right? They become obsessed with healing as the end result, but healing's not the end result. Healing is just the thing that we do at the beginning to set us on a new path. And what happens when we get stuck in the coal mine is that we are constantly over-processing, over-analyzing, overthinking. We are immersed in the problem all the time. From the moment we wake up, we're like, I'm going to do a million things today, and I'm going to put all my attention, I'm going to throw everything I have at this problem. And I was talking about this last week as well. So that's sort of one of the aspects of understanding what this is identifying like, ooh, I think I'm a coal miner. I think I might be a coal miner. I think I'm a coal miner. And remembering that the healing and the excavation is just one aspect of the journey. And it's not the one that's supposed to take the longest. It's not the one that we're supposed to spend most of our time in. We don't need to be in the coal mine for years and decades looking at all of our trauma and digging endlessly for something broken and forgetting that we came down in this coal mine to get some jewels so we could go up and be sparkly on the surface, right? I think something that is really easy to forget in this industry and in the time of of the healer, in the time of the self-healers, in the time of this shift that we're doing from moving from the medical system and relying on the medical system to turning back inward of like, I can do this myself. Like, what does this look like? But we're not really moving all the way through everything. We're just doing one part of it. We're just like, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to bypass my shadow. I am going to overcome this tragedy and this challenge. And we're forgetting the second part of that, which is transmuting it into beauty, into sparkly rainbows, into radiance and celebration and creativity. Because we don't give ourselves permission to do that. We feel guilty about enjoying. We feel like because the seeking gave us a job, it gave us a purpose. Once you start pivoting from this survival mode of solving to creative sovereignty, to vibrational stewardship, to living from resonance and coherence instead of contraction and making yourself small. It's the shift between identifying with your trauma and being grateful for it and seeing how it moved you into an inner brilliance, right? This is a way to step into greater self-trust, to live in relationship with beauty, with nature, with the magic that you have inside of you, and the magic that you would not be able to recognize had you not gone on this deep excavation journey as the coal miner, right? So we are struggling here because, well, it sucks like to live in a coal mine. No, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. Why this is challenging is because we have this unconscious addiction to healing and fixing and solving, and it becomes part of our identity. It becomes a belief that being in pain is more spiritual than being in joy, that somehow solving your pain is your purpose now. And if you let go of this wounded identity, if you let go of this part of you that was felt victimized and traumatized and wrong because it gave you so much meaning in your life, there will be nothing there. And it can feel challenging too, because we're giving up the goo phase with the butterfly and becoming and deciding to be the butterfly. But there's this liminal space between, and we haven't yet emerged from the cocoon. We have not come out into our full radiance and glory. We aren't a bejeweled creature of love and light, but we no longer identify with the goo and the suffering and the loss and the fixing. That's a challenging liminal space to be in. It's a threshold, and thresholds are really challenging. They're more challenging than, sometimes the darker pain periods that we experience. For some of us, especially people in service, we believe that we need to be in the trenches to help. This has appeared for me very strongly in my awareness and my consciousness, that I had a deep unconscious belief that worthiness only comes after complete healing, that I can only be fully in my power as a supporter and guide on this path if I have healed myself 100%. And if that is not perfectionism, I do not know what is. It's for me, and you might feel this is the same for you. It's tied to a deep need to be perfect, and this belief that I can only be fully loved if I'm fully perfect. And so then you develop this like unconscious loyalty to suffering and to redoing it and to keep looking and to going down further to prove that you're enough, that you're worthy, and that there's some unattainable standard, some expectation that you have set for yourself that you may not even be aware of, that's driving all of this, and becoming attached to the identity of healer or wounded healer or excavator or whatever it is. You're on a healing journey, and it can also become like a velvet rut of excuses, like, oh, I'm on this healing journey. Like, as long as I'm on the healing journey, I don't ever actually have to be healed. I don't have to claim that healing. I can be more conscious than I was, but not actually have to get out of my comfort zone and do something that might be really challenging or put me up against something in myself that feels really edgy, right? And this coal miner identity, or the seeking identity, it will give you it. The thing about what you're doing when you're mining for coal is you're mining for gems, right? It's not really coal miner, it's jeweler, it's gem. So how do you know if this is you? How do you know if you're just mining for jewels and not taking them and using them and doing something magical with them? And one way to know is that you have really been doing the work for a long time and you feel more stuck than ever. You maybe feel a deep sorrow of not being able to move forward. You've plateaued in some way. You feel disconnected from your process. You feel disconnected from your modalities. Maybe you're sort of doing everything on autopilot and you don't maybe know why you're doing it. You feel like you're not really getting anywhere. Maybe you keep going to ceremonies and nothing's happening, or you're expecting some big experience or waiting for some big healing experience or like catharsis that has not come and will not arrive. It becomes this identity of this, like, I'm broken, I got to keep looking. I'm broken and I've got to keep looking and I've got to keep trying and I've got to keep solving. And really what we are is addicted to solving. That has become the identity. And it's the same energy that that created whatever it is you're trying to solve. It's a trauma loop. It's like, it's a loop that has no way out. It doesn't have an answer because it is designed to keep you activated, to keep you focused, to keep you distracted, to keep you in the mind looking for things. And instead of, when you find something, when you get a revelation, you find a ruby, you find an amethyst, you find something magical, instead of taking that up to the surface and cleaning it and polishing it and thinking like, oh my God, I want to get to know this jewel that I found in myself. I want to get to know this gift. What a gift. And celebrating and dancing in the rain and like, holding on to this amazing thing that you have found in yourself and taking it and making it into something amazing and beautiful to appreciate in your life. It's sort of like you take it, you find it, and you take it and you throw it in a pile up. And then because you've lost your connection to the completion, because it doesn't feel accessible to you. It doesn't feel possible to you because you're a coal miner. You're a coal miner. If you're a coal miner and you're identifying as a coal miner, and you got to go back in that mine because that's all you're there to do, right? And I think it becomes this trap if you think about like, okay, but if I stop, I'll never get well, or I'll never feel good. I'm abandoning myself. I'm abandoning the process. Or if you decide like, I'm actually not suffering and I'm not in pain and there's no more, I have literally dug every single gem out of this mine. There's nothing in here. This mine needs to be closed down. Then it feels like you're spiritually bypassing, or like you're not allowed to say, no, I'm healed. I'm good. Like, I feel good. I'm ready to go like get it. I'm ready to create. I'm ready to party. And the thing that happened with me this weekend was really seeing this attachment to the identity of the solver and the fixer, and how I create problems so I can solve them, because my mind loves to solve problems. And then asking myself the question in front of everyone, I was like, if I'm not solving and fixing and focused on making myself smaller, or focused on working on my physical body in some way, I don't know if I know who I am without all of that stuff. And it was really a rhetorical, kind of existential question that I was having, with the mushrooms. And all of a sudden, the medicine helped me see it. It helped me see how I have put all of my attention on integrating these lessons. And I've spent, 7 years digging and looking and figuring out like all of the things that I didn't like about myself, and all of the places that I felt like I need to look here, and I need to pull this out, and I need to feel this, and I need to name this trauma, and I need to honor my ancestors, and I need to heal this ancestral trauma, and I need to work on my father relationship, and my masculine wound, and my feminine wound, and my sister wound, all of this. And it's like, now this shadow has just become a process in itself, and it's like this loop of self-excavation that makes my brain feel like it has a purpose. And really what it feels like is exhaustion. It feels like there's no progress because it never gets solved. It feels difficult to enjoy and create and play because I spend so much of my emotional and mental and physical energy just trying to take care of myself because of the endless digging. And how it has resulted for me is, and I know this is why it's here, is because I had to activate all of this in myself a few months ago. When I went to Ecuador and sat with ayahuasca, this is when this all started, this loop, this like, well, it's been going on since before that, but it started to come to my awareness because it got where, the things that were going on in my life became louder. And that's when I started like, paying attention more and seeing more facets of it come out of my unconscious and showing me like, here, you need to pay attention to this. And I saw how much I have over-identified with the healing journey, and how, because of doing that, how much I have healed, and how far I've come, and how beautiful my life is, and how I, kind of don't look up from the mining process, because I'm like, you're not supposed to live in the mine. We think the next wound is going to be the final one, but what we don't see is the web that's attaching them all together. And that's why I really love the Gene Keys, because the Gene Keys shows you all of your different wounds and your shadows. And well, Richard Rudd says that we should be spending 10% of our time contemplating the shadows and 90% contemplating the gifts and the cities. And the gifts and the cities are the beautiful things that come out of these shadows, the evolutionary gifts that come out of the shadows, the evolution of humanity is what comes out of the city, is like these really amazing expressions of consciousness and humanity and individualism and all of these things. But most people who come into working with the Gene Keys only see the shadows. And I have spent quite a lot of time this last year since I was introduced to this, really getting to know the shadows in my activation sequence. So there's an aspect in spiritual circles of being rewarded for being the best excavator, like, ooh, look at this person. They're going deep into their wounds and like transforming, because everybody loves a good underdog story. Everybody loves a story of transformation. And we've all been through it and we're all doing it. So when somebody new comes in and it's like, oh yes, you're getting into your stuff, amazing. It's like, that's kind of what we bond on, because everybody has stuff. And we're so repressed and we're so taught that it's not okay to talk about this stuff. It's not okay to share having these things. It's not okay to talk about the struggles that you have or show anger or emotion like sadness or grief or depression, to talk about your anxiety. So it does create a belonging inside of spiritual circles, and the belonging is only the beginning. It's more like how we want to shift our relationships, our personal relationships, from being trauma bonds to being celebrations. We don't want to, and this is really what happened this weekend with me and my partner. We're both coal miners. We're both really good at mining. And we both made a commitment to ourselves and to each other. Like, we are now entering our jeweler era. We are going to enjoy the fruits of our labor. We have been digging. We've created so much beauty, and we are just getting started. And it felt so activated and so good. I wanted to share it with you because when the place where you get where you know that it's time to stop digging and that your coal miner era has come to its conclusion is you no longer feel resonance in these deep shadow dives. Like, something that was coming up for the team this weekend was everyone was like, I don't believe these thoughts that I'm having. Like, a couple of us had these different processes where, this like loop of thinking would come up, and it was like, I don't believe any of this. Like, none of this feels true. It's here and I can feel how activated I am about it, but I don't agree with it and I don't believe it's true. But it keeps coming up. And so we were sort of trying to understand, like, why is it still like this? Like, what's going on that these loops are coming back? And really it's just attention. It's just attention to the problem. It's attention to the negative thought patterns. It's where do you put your attention? Where are you putting your attention? And if you're putting your attention on thought patterns like, I'm not good enough, I need to fix this, this is a problem, I'm not lovable, I don't belong, there's something wrong with me, maybe I should go to a doctor. There's just a million things that your body can tell yourself. And if you agree with that, it's going to keep sending you more of those thoughts. And that's how you get stuck in the coal mine. It makes you feel really tired. I have been having this experience recently where, I'd be in a sweat lodge and the sweat, it's a very quick opening for me to get to. If there's something stuck in my body on emotion I need to feel, the sweat lodge can get to it really fast. And I would get to this place in myself and I would feel a little bit like the emotion would come, but it wouldn't come. And it felt like squeezing a cloth with there's no more water left in it, like a wash rag or something, and like squeezing out the last of the sadness. And I realized in the last one, I was like, I don't need to go down into the depths of myself to get something left. Like, there's nothing in there. I have cried all the tears. Like, not to say that I'm never going to cry again. I'm always open to crying. Crying is great. But I was just realizing, like, I have been down here so much and I have scooped in so much that it's no longer, there's nothing left. But we believe that if we rest and if we stop and if we put everything down and we no longer agree to participate in the full-time job of excavating and looking for problems and solving and fixing, then we're going to go back to the way that it was. And I'm telling you right now, you can't go back into the coal mine once you decide you're a jeweler. you might need to go in there and get something once. It doesn't mean that you're never going to have a period in your life where you need to descend into your shadow. But after you reach this initial phase where you have gone in and you have mined everything, that's it. You don't have to keep doing it. You don't have to keep going in and looking for more, that there's some scrap left in there, that's the piece. If you could just figure out that one piece, then you would be healed. That's the trick, is what it is. That elusive piece is the carrot on the stick that has you chasing some perfection. It's perfectionism. All of this is a fancy way to talk about perfectionism. If you are doing this, you are a perfectionist. That's all it is. If you have glimmers of joy and beauty and happiness and artistry and creativity, but you don't ever allow yourself to act on them or savor them or think, oh, this is how it could be. You kind of like glimpse it, but then that's all that stays, is just a little glimmer because it's out of reach for you. That's a limiting belief. You believe it's out of reach. It's because you're deciding that it is. And none of this is lazy. None of this is you're not avoiding your pain. But this idea that you have to go deep down into the darkest reaches of yourself and scrape everything out, and it's not a bacterial infection. It's not like one bacteria is left in there and it's going to take you down all over again. It's just a way that spiritual people are exhausting themselves because we don't know how to hold joy. We don't know that we're jewelers. We don't know that we're jewelers. We think that we're just coal miners, and we've been kind of told that, okay, now you're on a healing journey, and the healing journey is like hard labor. So good luck, enjoy yourself. The way to shift into the energy of your jeweler era is, number one, to decide that you're coming out of this fucking mind and you're not going back in there. Hang up your hard hat, hang up your headlamp, hang up your tools. You don't need to be down there anymore. Take a good shower. You got to get yourself cleaned off. Go get in a river. Get some ice water on you. Like, really, I highly recommend doing a cold water river, some natural water, full baptize yourself as your jeweler. Really, nature is there to support us in these decisions and to support us into these new ways of being. And nature teaches us how to compost. Nature teaches us how to use what we have, what has been discovered, and turn it into something else. That's what mushrooms do. They take dead and decaying matter and turn it into food. They turn it into usable resources. They turn it into fruits that grow magical compounds that when the human brain ingests them, it creates new neural pathways. I mean, is there anything more magical and jeweler era than that? Whoa. They're such a good teacher. They're turning death into life. That's what they do. And that is what we can do too. We are whole. We are here to enjoy. We are here to be integrated. And integration is not, let me take all this dark stuff and bring it into me. That's just one part of it. Integration is vibrational alignment. It's heart alignment. It's, okay, everything is open. All my chakras are open. My hands are here to work in the world in a good way. My voice is open to speak in a beautiful way. I have the eyes to see what's in front of me. I have the ears to hear what spirit is telling me. I have a capable spirit that can use the body that I'm in to create magic and create joy and enjoy and have fun and appreciate and be in reverence and walk in life in a way that's beautiful, instead of wasting all day, every day, looking for something to be wrong. Beauty is not extra. Beauty is not something that's nice to have. It's essential to have. I need things to be beautiful. It's part of who I am. I need life to feel good. I need my friendships to feel good. I need my relationships to feel good. I need my work to feel good. I want the people who are working with me in my containers to receive the benefit of feeling good by putting in the time and energy and money that they are investing into themselves by coming into our containers, right? No one has asked us to stay in this cave, y'all. We are being asked to sing. We're being asked to create. The world needs art and love and music and joy and dancing and fun and celebration more than ever. And what we have to do is give ourselves permission to leave the mind and enter the workshop of your of the life that you want, to take all that attention that you've been putting on solving and fixing and put it instead into creating and enjoying and appreciating and having fun and laughing at yourself, laughing at how serious you take yourself, and removing these separations and removing this shame that you have for being stuck in the mind. This is not a thing to be like, if you were stuck in the mind, it's okay. Me too. I just got out this weekend. I'm totally out of the mind now. That's why I'm telling you about this, so you can get out too. I didn't even know I was in there. Somewhere I'm sure I knew, but I didn't know I was in there. But I'm not an endless fixer. I'm an intentional crafter. I'm a creator. And I have done so well creating from a place of also being like really perfectionist. You know, this show is one of the only places in my life where I was like, no perfectionism is allowed in here. I'm going to fuck around and find out, and I'm probably going to make a mess, and I don't care if nobody likes it. I'm going to do it just like this, because it was a place that I was able to come and be the jeweler and start practicing how to be a jeweler and start practicing how to create things and not know what I'm doing, and how to make things from nothing, and how to work all this stuff out in a place that felt safe. You know, I am much more interested and excited and curious about using my gifts of discernment and refinement, and like taking these rough jewels that have come out of all of this work and understanding that I've done with the medicine, and being like, what does this want to be? Like, what is this going to show me? What is this going to tell me about? How am I going to learn more about myself through joy and beauty and love? Healing through suffering and excavation is only one of the ways that we can heal. And it's not the most fun way. It's the hard way. And while I do believe that you got to heal the hard way a little bit, I think sometimes we have to, especially in the lives that we're living now. We need it like that. And that's why it's here. And that's why there's no judgment around being in your minor era. There's no judgment. There's no reason to be like, oh, I've been wasting my time in this mine. It's like, you've been in the mine because you needed to get out all of these stones so that you could take them up to the top and create something that has never been seen before, to innovate, right? And I think what the medicine, at least for me, it's been telling me is use us to create. Yes, we're here to help you heal. But for those of us who are on this path long term, we can't stay in the healing cycle forever. And I think because there's not very much support of like, okay, and like, now what? There's a lot of support for the beginning of the cycle where like, that's where everyone is healing in the dark, right? But not as many people stay on the path long enough to be like, I'm actually not a miner, I'm a jeweler. Like, I would like to come out here and create a gallery full of magic, right? You can experience this through the medicine when the medicine starts repeating to you, you know, it starts becoming more and more simple. And that's what happened for me. About 3 years ago, the medicine started changing the way that it communicated with me. And it started sending less verbal messages and more messages of vibrational alignment and vibrational understanding, and showing me a new way to communicate, and showing my little brain, like, not language. Language is very limited. We need to speak in another way that's higher than language, a vibrational way, and understanding and knowing. And that has been unfolding for me for a few years. In order for me to fully receive the gifts of that, I had to go deep, deep into the mind again and get confused and forget like what I'm doing out here, because that's how it works for me. And maybe it works the same for you, maybe not. You know, you're the only one that knows how it works for you. But the message that I have gotten is sort of like, there is a difference between processing trauma and embodying wisdom. There is a difference when the medicine is just opening the way for you to return to your vibrational understanding. It's not solving anything. It's attuning you. It's not trying to heal anything. It's just tuning your frequency back to the correct channel. And that's really why I continue to work with it, is because of this tuning and this honing and this resonance that is created when I am sitting in spaces with medicine. The way that the insights with the medicine become more spacious, because I am able to hold more vibrationally and my capacity is bigger. It's showing me so much more, but in a way that feels like less. So what are some things you can do to support yourself coming up for air out of this coal mine and stepping into your jeweler era. Number one, don't judge yourself. There's no need for judgment. 8 years almost. There's no reason to judge. We all have this coal miner phase, and I'm sharing it today because I have seen this in myself, and I'm like, yes, I am a jeweler now. I'm going to make fabulous jewelry, and I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to sparkle, and I'm going to be rainbows all over the time, and it's great. And there's going to be another time where I'm like, I have to go back in the mine. There's something in there that I need to go find, And that doesn't mean that you did something wrong, or it's taking too long, or you did anything. It's exactly as it's meant to be. However long you spend in these phases and these circles that we create, it's like that because it's not finished teaching you. It takes me a lot of suffering to learn things. It takes me a lot of suffering to learn things. I really am like stubborn and hard-headed, and I am, Ian and I always are like, haha, we're very good at suffering. And I think that's pretty common for people in service. People in service have a large capacity for deep pain, And I didn't really have anyone telling me any of this stuff. I've had to learn all of this on my own. And I couldn't find mentors or teachers outside of my medicine family, that integration teachers that resonated in the way that I wanted to learn about this stuff. So it's something that I had to go in and get myself so that I could bring out the jewels and share them with people. It may be different for you. You may not be taking the jewels and spreading them all to the family. You may be needing to do this for yourself. And so the first step is no judgment. No judgment, softness, laughing. Laugh it. I mean, it's pretty funny, It's pretty funny that we get stuck in these phases. And when we could be a jeweler, it's ironic, it's funny, it's the human condition, right? Unlearning of suffering equals triumph or something, this like, okay, it's a linear path and cause and effect and all this stuff that I've been talking about for weeks and weeks about on this show. We're shifting from a frequency of being focused on trauma to a frequency of being focused on resonance and coherence. That's really it. We're moving into a new frequency in humanity. And so we're going to do it ourselves first. That's how it works. So you have to be willing to shift your tuning fork, be willing to let go of the identity of the miner, be willing to stand in a liminal threshold space of not knowing how to be a jeweler yet. Maybe you're not fully expressed in your jeweler era, and that's okay. You don't have to be. You get to learn as you go. And the way that you learn is by practicing. The way that you learn is by deciding, I am not going to put any more attention on my problems. We did this really fun thing in Nest a couple weeks ago where I told everyone, I gave someone an assignment and I was like, for 1 week, you have to take a vacation from your problems. And then I challenged everyone to do it. And it was such a breakthrough week. It was like, everyone was like, oh my God, I'm addicted to solving. I'm addicted to fixing myself. I'm making lists. One of my sweet nesties was like, I have not been solving myself this week, but I've been making lists about what I'm going to do next week and all the solving and all the books I'm going to read and all this stuff. And just giving yourself permission to shift your attention to something more beneficial that feels better. We think that we cannot take our eyes off this stuff for a moment or it will go out of control. And we don't believe that we can take our eyes off of it because we don't trust ourselves. And we don't trust ourselves because we are disconnected from our intuition. And we're disconnected from our intuition on purpose because that's how this society that we live in has created it for us. It's not your fault. And there's nothing wrong with you. This is this system that we live in. And so much of this work with the plant medicine is unlearning and deprogramming ourselves from thinking that there's only one way to be, and we have to stay inside of this Maya, this matrix system. And that's all focused on material acquisition and excavation and extraction. And I use that word extraction a lot because extraction is kind of what we're doing. It's mining. Extraction is mining. And so in humanity, we're extracting water, we're extracting nutrients from the soil, we're extracting animals from their natural habitats and using them, putting them in unnatural situations and using them for food. And, there's all these different industrial systems on the planet where we learned how to be miners and we learned how to extract. And so we're sort of obsessed as a culture of disassembling things and taking them out of the natural cycle and linearizing them and like taking these, pieces. And like, that's how we do medications. It's like They're like, oh, take this psilocybin pill. And it's like, I don't want a psilocybin pill. I want a mushroom, because the mushroom has all these other things like a spirit. It's got organic matter in it that's also helping me understand and learn and remember. So we have to be able to open our worldview to see the bigger picture. If we're doing this mining in ourselves, it's just a mirror of what's going on in the collective, right? Because as above, so below. What's going on in the collective is we're taking things out of their natural place to be, and we're not celebrating it. We're just using and using and using and using and consuming and consuming. And it's not sustainable. And it's not sustainable for the individual, and it's not sustainable for the collective. So we have to learn how to stop doing that and let things be in their natural cycle, and let things be in cycles because we're cyclical beings. We're seasonal beings. We live in seasons. So you might have a season of coal mining, maybe you go into the coal mine, there's something going on, you have a grief, a loss, something. That's a coal mine season, but you don't stay in there. You don't live in there. You come in, you go out, and things get better and feel better. And that's the waves that we ride, emotional waves as humans. We want to be coherent. We want to be in strong, beautiful, connected vibration. And all we have to do is allow it. We have to put down the fighting. We have to put down the fixing. We have to put down the perfectionism. We have to stop identifying. And we might have to let that part of our egos die. And that can be really painful. And what our job is instead is to create beauty on purpose. Create beauty on purpose. Right. Dance. Bless your food. Pray over your food. Sing. Laugh. Go out into the wilderness with your friends and enjoy yourself. Build an altar in your home. Speak in words that feel good to you. Learn some medicine songs. Pray to the water. Go sit by a river and tell it your secrets. Dress in a way that makes you feel fantastic. There's so much beauty that can be created. One of the things that I'm working on right now in myself is really coming into a beautiful relationship with my food. And one of the things I really enjoy is plating my food and putting it on the plate in a way that is so nourishing and beautiful that I just not only does it taste good, but when I look at it, I'm like, this feels like health. This feels like wellness. This feels like summer. So I want every plate that I make to feel like summer. So there's lots of fruits and vegetables and color and juicy things on my plate. And it's a little way that I'm creating beauty on purpose. So some things like that, right? Really, the last thing is just asking yourself, is this fixing? Is this solving? Or am I allowing and feeling and being present? It's a really simple question, and you can always know the answer. If it feels like fixing, stop. You don't need to fix. There's nothing to fix. And I think that's really the bomb that gets dropped on us is there's nothing to fix. There was never anything to fix. Your only job is to become more conscious and more coherent. And everything else is a trick. You don't have to go understand every single infinite cell of trauma that's in your body and coax it out and feel it all. You don't have to do any of that. You can get a general idea of the vibration and be like, okay, I got it. Thank you so much. Please let this healing inform my joy, and let your joy be your gift. Let exploring and expressing joy be your gift. We don't get forever on this planet. We are not here that long. So we think we have forever and we don't. So the sooner you can get out of this mind and get into your jewelry shop, the better. Thank you for listening, family. I hope this is helpful. I hope this weird metaphor is helpful for you, as it was for me. Saying thanks to Ian for letting me record his crazy old prospector laugh and share it with you. If you want to get to know more about how to do this work, how to step into your jeweler era, come see me in Nest. You can work with me one-on-one or come to our resonance retreat in September. You can find all the information out on my website, sinclairfleetwood.com. And I'll see you next time. Thank you, fam.